all my braces and whatnot. If you ride bulls long enough, you'll figure out about all those. I don't carry a whole lot in my rigging bag. You'll see some guys, a lot of them use rolling bags, which that's fine. I keep it kind of old school. I want to carry my own stuff. I don't want to drag it around. Uh, it's a lot easier for me too, because when I look back through that and flying with it, I know exactly which bag's mine. It doesn't look like another rolling bag. So I know I kind of like to keep it old school. That's why I carry it. It does kind of suck sometimes when you get hurt or something and you're crippled and you got to tote this thing around. But I don't carry a whole lot in my bag, and so my bag's not very, very heavy at all. I used to wear a helmet. I don't anymore. That's there again. That's personal preference. I would suggest it on younger guys, because you don't quite know how to get yourself out of wrecks when you get hung up. And things like that. I wore it when I was younger. My parents made me, so I wore it, and then I was just accustomed to it. And then finally, one day, I decided in the practice pen I was not wearing it anymore, and I took it off and never put it back on. I felt a lot better. I never lost sight of the bulls. But that's personal preference. Probably not one of the smartest decisions I ever made, but riding bulls for a living, it's not a business. I felt like whatever made me feel like I rode better is what I did. And when I took it off, I felt like I rode better. I felt like I had more control over my head. I never lost sight of those bulls. Yeah, it hurts a lot more when you get hit in the face without it on, but part of riding bulls. Vest, pretty simple. I rode with Phoenix vests for a long time. That's all I would ride with. This one, I think, is a Ride Right. Yeah, it is. It's not bad. First thing I do with every vest I get, if you ever feel my shoulder straps, I have no padding in them. None on the front. The padding starts here. There's none there. You can always tell a vest that I rode with because they're cut. I cut them. I cut the padding out of the shoulder straps. I don't like the way it feels when the padding's up on my shoulders. It makes it feel like it's sitting up. I never did like that, so you can always tell if I've rode in a vest because it's cut and some of the padding's missing. That there again is personal preference. If you're just starting out, don't cut that out. Just ride with it. You'll be used to it. I don't know why it bothered me when I had padding up there. It just felt like it was up against my head. I'm kind of claustrophobic, so even when I did wear a helmet, like I didn't have it on very tight. If a bull hit me in the face, it'd fly off because I don't like being confined in the buck and shoot. I don't like people spotting me and grabbing a hold of me. I like to be loose. My vest, I've had plenty of guys tell me, bull tried to flip over on me one time, had me mashed in the back of the chute, and they grabbed my vest and tried to pull me out by my vest, and I was like a turtle in a shell. My vest just slid up. It's not on very tight. Like you can walk up and grab the bottom of my vest and pull it out. I don't like being confined. The only thing on me that is really tight when I ride, my chaps I put on pretty tight, and my boots. Other than that, I don't like it. I cram my hat down on there, so vest is kind of loose, but I mean, all that's personal preference. You got to figure out what works for you. Not everything works the same for everybody. That's just the way I do. Riding jeans, you can ride in whatever. I do it so not all my jeans get tore up, messed up. I've got pairs of jeans down there hanging that are strictly for riding. They've been sewed up and stitched up and things like that. Uh, Different ways to tie your boots on. Some guys use dog collars. I've seen dog collars. I don't really like dog collars because if you break your ankle or your leg or something like that, break your foot, that swelling's going to set in before they get to you. Well, if you got dog collars on, the only way to get a dog collar off is to pull it tighter. So, if you got them tied on, all you got to do is untie the knot and unlace them. And, I just always figured I rode with dog collars when I was younger. And I think when I was about 16, I started tying them on with leather, and I liked that a lot better. I felt like I had more stability in my ankles because I had more laces and it was tied on. And then I've seen guys that, break their ankle and things, and then they have to hold them down and pull that dog collar tighter to get it loose. And it didn't look great fun, so I never rode with them again. But, you know, any kind of little Lab-to-Go leather. I got black ones, so they match it. Everything I've got is pretty much black. So, they're just black Lab-to-Go little strips. Chaps, same kind of deal. You don't have to have fancy chaps. If you look at these, there's not too much fancy about that. There's no fringe, there's no nothing. I've got different ones. I got some that are a little flashier than others. I like these. You starting out, you don't need chaps if you really don't want them. Learn the riding part first. You don't have to look like you're going to the PBR finals and you've only been on 2 bulls in your life. Another thing, when you're starting out, don't wear your shit around until it's time. Don't put your chaps on, walk around the arena. Don't do stuff like that. You get ready. This is a business. You're not trying to show off for your girlfriend or people to tell them you're a bull rider. If you ride good enough and you try hard, people will notice you anyways. When I get to a rodeo or a bull riding, I stay behind the bucking chutes. I don't go anywhere else. I don't walk through the crowd. I don't do things like that. I stay back there. That's your office. That's where you better get your mind right. You don't put a whole lot of thought into it, but I stay back there. That's my atmosphere. That's my office. That's my working place. That's my happy place. I stay back there. I don't want to really talk to a whole lot of people, and it's just preference. But do not walk around the arena, halfway through the rodeo with your chaps on and everything taped on. Nobody gives a shit if you're there for the bull riding, and if you are doing that, you're probably not going to ride anyway, so don't do it. Let's see here.
That's pretty much it, huh?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much the only other things I've got in here, well, there's my rosin that's leaked all over my bag and on my mouthpiece. Sometimes I wear a mouthpiece, sometimes I don't. That's preference. The only reason I even started wearing a mouthpiece was because I broke my jaw and wouldn't go get it x-rayed, and Tandy Freeman asked me, he said, well, just at least wear the mouthpiece. And so I did, and anytime I'd get hit in the face or knocked out or something like that, I would always wear it for a couple weeks after that, just kind of help try to prevent another knockout. And you see where mine's at, though. Usually I'm chewing gum, so it's hard to use a mouthpiece and chew chewing gum at the same time. I carry a couple wire brushes. That's it. A few tools. My tool bag here. I got it in there. That's just, in case your rowel breaks or something like that, you got some flat heads, and I got a little pair of vice grips in case you got to rewire. Just in case something breaks, I can always fix it. The one thing I do carry that a lot of guys do use of mine, clinchers. They're for shoeing horses. But sometimes you'll have them bulls mash in the bucking chute. Well, your spur will mash in around your ankle or on the heel of your boot. Well, you can take these right here, stick them down in there, get them between the bands, spread them back out. You're good to go. So a lot of guys always ask me, hey, you got your spur spreaders? But all they are, you can buy them at Tractor Supply. They're clinchers for shoeing horses, and that's it. I've wrapped them up and put some stuff around them so the metal part wouldn't dig into my boot or anything, but that's all it is. Think smarter, not harder. And there's old sponsor shirt. That's pretty much my rigging bag. That's all I carry in it, and that's all I've got with me. That's all I need to ride a bull. As long as my gear bag makes it there, I'm really not worried about the clothes bag.
When you put your stuff back in, is it always going the same way?
Yeah, that's another thing. I watch a lot of guys too. You know, that sponsor shirt was just shoved in there from the last bull I got on. I took it off and put it in there. Repetition, bull riding is repetition. Muscle memory, everything is repetition. You got to remember everything. For me, no one ever taught me to do that. It became a habit. I get my stuff out of my bag the same way every time. So I put my stuff back in my bag the same way every time. I always put it back in exactly the same way every single time. And the reason you do that is just like riding bulls. If you do the same thing over and over and over, it becomes repetition. It's just, it's automatic. You don't have to think about anything. And that's how bull riding has to be. It is all timing. It has to be reaction, automatic. You do it correctly on a drop barrel. Then enough times when you get on a bull, it's just reaction. You're not thinking about it. It's reaction. Because if you think about it, you're in the ground. So, part of your rigging bag, like I see guys just throw their shit in there, just wad it up. You don't do that. These are your tools to make your money right here. So you better take care of them. I mean, every time you put it up the same way. I don't hardly ever take my knot out of my bull rope. I let it all the way out, take it down to the bells. I roll it up the same way every single time. I don't roll it up real tight because if you roll it up real tight, then the end of your tail is going to be bent around all the time. I just kind of loosely roll it up. My bull rope always goes in first. I got my tools and things like that in the bottom, but my bull rope goes in first. I want to make sure everything's straight, nothing's twisted. Roll it up. I lay it in there flat. Put it in there. For me, next thing, I lay my vest. Lay it down. I always fold my chaps the same way, on the crease. I fold them. I don't throw them around. When I get them out of my bag, I either lay them, they're either still in my vest or I hang them on the fence. A lot of times I just leave them inside my vest the same way I'm about to put them in there. I lay it there until I get ready to use it. I keep them folded. The best way to if you get a new pair of chaps, the best way to get a crease in them is you just put them straight, put them under your mattress, sleep on them for about 2 weeks. And that'll put them, lay them flat, out like this on your mattress. Make sure all your fringe is straight. You get the crease in it. You lay it flat under your mattress. Same way with this one. Get the crease in it. Lay it flat. Lay them all flat. Put them between your box springs and your mattress and sleep on them for about 2 or 3 weeks, however long. That'll crease them. But the key to keeping the crease in them is to fold them and put them back exactly the same every single time. So mine can be flopped around like that. If I get bucked off or something, I am bad. When I take my stuff off, I'll throw it down for a minute. Have me a little bit, but then when I come over there, put them together, hold them up. That crease will never come out of these. Pop them, make sure all your fringe is hanging down. Fold them like that. When I lay them in there, I always lay them like this, where the fringe is like that, and flip them. That way the fringe is not hanging out, get caught in your zipper on your bag, things like that. I lay them exactly in the middle of there. Once my riding jeans are off, my tie straps, they always stay tied onto my riding jeans. I make sure, same way, exactly how they come from the cleaners, that's how I fold them back. To be 90, you got to look 90. So you want to look good. You want to look nice. You don't want to show up with a wrinkled shirt on. You don't want to show up with wrinkled pants. I mean, your riding pants, yeah, they'll get wore out, but if you fold them up the same way, the crease will still be there. They still look good for a long time. You just got to take care of everything, put it back the same way, fold it, take a little bit of extra time instead of just throwing shit in your bag and running off. a little bit of extra time and fold it up nice. Keep everything organized. And if you do it every time, it becomes habit and you don't think about it. You just always do it the same way, and I always do. I fold these up, make sure they're folded just like they would come from the cleaners on a hanger. And I lay them on top of my chaps, like that. And then I've got knee sleeves and elbow sleeves and growing wrap. I lay them in there. Next thing, blue's the best. I always close it like that because my bag's not very big, so it helps keep everything inside there. That way, once I get all that in there, this boot, I always point my spurs down. So I lay it in like this on one side. I lay it in like this on the other side. Both spurs are pointed down. That way when you're carrying it, the rowel's not stabbing in you through the bag or anything like that or poking holes in it. You're good to go.